What was once the embodiment of luxury is now in ruins. Gone is the image that Hollywood had drawn for us. All there is left to see is the ugly part of the city. How do you think this city of the elite got to this point? What could have possibly turned this desirable city into a place that no one wants to live in? In this video, we will examine the once popular city of Beverly Hills. Watch until the end to see how this city is turning into a ghost town. Located in the heart of California, Beverly Hills was a very prosperous area way before Hollywood even discovered it. Even though the city was pretty famous, the population was only around 30,000, and that was mainly because the town was home to many celebrities and well-connected individuals. Now, let's take a walk down the history of Beverly Hills. There has always been something special about the land. The native Tongva, the original inhabitants of the city, used to call it the Gathering of Water. This was because they recognized it as an oasis, since whenever it used to rain, the water would gather on the hills and flow down to what is now called Beverly Drive. But a vast majority of Tongva was wiped out due to smallpox. Soon after that, the city became home to many Spaniards. Maria Rita Vies, a widow to a Spanish soldier, started a cattle and horse ranch near today's Sunset Boulevard. A few years later, Maria had to sell her land after she survived a shootout with Native Americans who attacked her rancho, to Henry Hancock and Benjamin Wilson. But to their dismay, all their livestock died when the water dried up. The land was traded around for more than 30 years. Did you know that Beverly Hills was once bought with the intention of creating Morocco? Yes, you heard it right. In the early 1880s, Henry Hamill and Charles Denker bought the land for that purpose, but the economic collapse back then hindered their plans. Around 1900, the land was purchased in search of oil, but there wasn't enough oil for them to commercialize the land. This was when the land was finally named Beverly Hills. The name was inspired by Beverly Farms. The best landscape architects were hired to carve out the perfect street plan. The land was all mapped out for public parks, resorts, and schools. Initially, the plan was to make it affordable, but since the city was a part of the all-white planned communities, they didn't accept any black or Jewish buyers. In the beginning, the sales were slow, but once the Beverly Hills Hotel was constructed, it gained the attention of locals and travelers. By 1914, the city had enough population to support the development, but the real hype was brought in by the Hollywood couple Mary Pickford and Douglas Fairbanks. They brought the entire Hollywood industry with them. Soon, the city welcomed a number of film industry stars, directors, and producers. The Beverly Hills Hotel became a vital place for theater plays and meetings, and this was how Beverly Hills became the city of glamour. The image of the city was further promoted through shows and movies. We all grew up watching movies set in Beverly Hills. You must have heard about shows like Beverly Hillbillies, Beverly Hills 90210, and The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And these are just 3 of the many shows set in the iconic city. But the Beverly Hills we see today is nothing like how it used to be. People are selling their properties and leaving. The city is starting to regress. All of this began when the crime rate began to increase in the city. High-end stores became victims of robberies. The situation became so bad that many brands had to shut their stores and move out of the town. And that was just the start. The crime rate has significantly increased since then. Currently, Beverly Hills has one of the highest crime rates in America. The crime rate of 49 per 1,000 people has left people terrified, and the condition of the town is nowhere near improving. Just last week, 2 robberies were reported on the same day. One of the suspects from the day was caught by the police, while the other managed to get away. And this is no longer just a night activity. People are now unsafe even in broad daylight. As per a few locals, they have to pay extra to the cabs at night in order to get to their homes safely. The locals can't get themselves used to the fact that the city which was once their safe place, is now surrounded by increasing crimes. And crimes are not the only reason driving people away from Beverly Hills. The city was once known for having no homeless people on the streets, but homeless encampments have been significantly growing. Previously, the police were actively working to keep people experiencing homelessness out, but now, especially after COVID-19, you can see tents all over the streets. And no one would be able to feel safe with this when there is already an upsurge in crime. The properties that were once built with flowing investments are now out of business. With the available for rent or sale sign, these places are waiting to be used, but unfortunately, people are no longer ready to make a living there. And this is not even an exaggeration. All you need is one walk down the streets of Beverly Hills, and you'll see that almost every store there is shut down. Even major brands like Chanel, Starbucks, and Louis Vuitton have now abandoned the city. So many other major brands have had to shut their business down due to bankruptcy. The retail industry has already suffered enough due to COVID, but now, with the surge in crime, these brands have found it impossible to survive in the city. Although brands like Hermes and Gucci are still thriving in the town, that's just a tiny intact piece of the ruined picture. These stores were also greatly affected by the decrease in demand. The majority of these stores had to close their doors because they were defenseless against the mobs of robbers. Many of you may have seen the videos of thieves grabbing luxury goods from brands, and these events take less than a second to turn violent. The upper class of Beverly Hills may not have been affected much, but the locals have had their safety at stake. They don't have an army of bodyguards to protect them when they step out of the house. And they do have the police, but they can't find themselves relying on the police when the crimes are so frequent. And now, stores aren't the only place where thefts are occurring. More and more break-ins have been reported, and people are not even safe in their homes anymore. This was what drove even more people away from the city. In 2024, the job market has downsized across several cities, and Beverly Hills was a part of this too. In the era of digitalization, traditional jobs have been no longer needed. People from several industries in Beverly Hills are now left without jobs. Real estate workers find it difficult to survive in a city where there is no more stable income for them. However, employees are not the only ones suffering. Entire businesses have been wiped out due to the economic decline in the city. It's like the city is making its way back to the 1880s. While the crime rate has significantly contributed to the town's decline, we can't forget about the mining industry. The town has always been famous for its minerals. Way before the modern city was established, the town attracted several investors due to its resources. However, with time, the mining industry started to decline. The resources have reached their endpoint, bringing an economic decline to the city. It has created a very deep hole in the job market. Apart from the job loss from the mining industry, the decline has also caused many investors to suffer a loss. Indeed, there are still hundreds of people coming down to the town, visiting the famous Beverly Hills sign, and driving around the city. But that's just the smaller picture. The problem is that people no longer see a long-term future in the town. And it is fair because no one should have to put their safety at risk to make a livelihood. What do you think about the story of Beverly Hills? Do you think Beverly Hills can ever get back to how it was? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See ya!